Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Hello, everyone. I am Singh, and you are listening to Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. The world needs better leaders. Become one, empower your leadership, and inspire the world. Let's begin. Ponder this. Have you ever felt like your brain is running 10 tabs at once, and just like your browser, none of them are loading? Uh, how many times have you been in a conversation where you completely forgot what the other person said because you were mentally planning dinner? When was the last time you were fully present? And no, scrolling Instagram during Netflix binge does not count. Do you feel like you are living your life like a GPS stuck on recalculating your route? Always busy, always moving, but never fully present. If you ever felt anything like this, you are running on autopilot. You are juggling million things, but never fully present in any of them. Maybe you have been in a meeting physically, but mentally you are already on tomorrow's to-do list. Does it sound familiar? Because today we are diving into the power of being fully present, the superpower I call the presence power. It's not just a feel good buzzword, it's what separates good leaders from truly great ones. And yes, it is one of the cardinal directions of Leadership Mastery Compass program. Presence power is the secret to clarity, focus, and leading with intentions. It's about showing up fully, not just for others, but for yourself too. By the end of this episode, you will not only understand what presence power is, but also how to cultivate it in your daily life. So let's unlock your superpower, shall we? Think about last time you tried to talk to someone while they were glued to their phone. You know that classic, uh-huh, yeah, mm, ah, responses, while they're clearly scrolling through something. Now imagine being that distracted person, but not just in a conversation in your own life. Ponder this: every moment to moment interaction that you have with yourself, with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, just being on autopilot. Presence power is the antidote to that. So let's break it down. What exactly is presence power? In simple terms, it is the ability to fully engage with the moment, free of distractions, free of mental clutter, and free of the noise of the world around you. It's about bringing your whole self, which includes your attention, your awareness, and your intention to that conversation, to that decision making, to that task at hand. Ponder this: how often are you truly present? Most of us are either stuck replaying the past or worrying about the future. Presence power is about cutting through all that mental noise and showing up fully in the here and now. I continue to share micro practices for having that mindful moment in your life. I shared the stop and the pause where you have to get in the moment, take a deep breath, think about the situation at hand, the thought that came, and feel where in the body you feel those sensations that your body is already alerting you towards an emotion. And put a name to it and move forward just to get present in that moment. A statistics shows that 75% of leaders, they spend the first 10% of the meeting still replaying what happened before that meeting. Think about it. Think about the loss of productivity. And as a human, I would go a step forward and say, think about the most simple response you gave being not present and set that example. So if we break it down, present power is built on three pillars. Let's unpack them. So the first one is attention. And I will continue with that example a bit. Attention is where it all starts. Directing your mental energy to the present moment. It's about focusing on what's in front of you. Doesn't matter whether it's a conversation, a decision, a task. So, for example, if you are starting a one on one meeting with a team member, instead of mentally preparing for your next meeting, you actually give them your undivided attention. That's what is meant in the peptid framework that we shared, to have professionalism and empathy, have respect for yourself and the other person, to be able to listen to them. And that kind of focus builds trust, it builds respect. Then the next one is awareness. Awareness again has two different components to it. There is internal and then there is external. External awareness is just being aware of others, being aware of and mindful about the environment in which you are there, being mindful of the people around you. Whereas internal awareness is understanding your thoughts. It is understanding how your emotions work under different situations. So, if you go back to that meeting and imagine you are in a meeting and you feel your frustration rising, awareness means that emotion is noticed and that emotion is checked up before it spills out as your eyes getting rolled over or as a sarcasm. And it happens more than we want it to. It happens more than often without planning for it because we are running on autopilot. If we look at the third component, and that's intentional action, not just any action, intentional action. Now, this is where the magic happens. Using your awareness to act with a purpose. It's about aligning your decisions and your actions with your values and goals. So, for instance, when you're meeting, your discussion goes off track. A leader with presence power gently redirects the conversation back to the goal. That's intentional action in practice. I more than often give example of the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and how he used presence power. When he took over struggling Microsoft, he didn't rush to make changes. Instead, he listened deeply to the employees at all levels, staying fully engaged in every conversation. That presence helped him build trust to foster collaboration and ultimately transform Microsoft's culture into one that of innovation and empathy. That is the power of being fully present. One of the exercises I have shared is self check-in, and I gave example of one of my clients and a great friend of mine, where she got in the habit of writing one simple question, one single question with three parts before starting any meeting. And I'm not talking about writing a journal, writing a novel, just simple words. The first question: what is the purpose here? What I'm trying to accomplish? What is the goal? The second question: if I did not get involved in this next activity, in this next conversation, then who is? And the third part: if I am not doing this activity, not having this conversation, what else could I be doing? Ponder this. You sit down in your next meeting, whether it is your one on one meeting, whether it is your team meeting, whether it is meeting with your client, whether it is meeting with anyone. And you have this question answered on the table. What are we meeting here for? Who else could be doing this? And what else if not this? It did two phenomenal things in one simple step. One, it brought everybody in the present moment. And it prepared everybody engaged in that conversation to check in. Very quickly, anybody who wants to be dismissive of the conversation and the results would do so. Very quickly, The second part answers the importance of that conversation. And very quickly, the third part answers the severity and the rationale of why that activity in the first place. Especially for tough conversations, both in good and bad way. A good way of tough conversation is having a tough sales call. A bad way of having a tough conversation is a corrective action for the right reasons. How emotionally you can connect those pieces the moment you put yourself in that present, right? So when we talk about presence power in leadership, the first aspect of that is clarity in decision making. Imagine you're trying to make a decision while your phone is blowing off. You have notifications on all your digital devices. Your dog is barking on the side, and you are late for a meeting. The decision probably won't be great. Presence power and the micro exercises helps you to cut through the noise and focus on what really matters. When you're present, you're able to cut through those distractions and focus on what truly matters because you are not clouded with those external voices that create a second doubt, that creates any kind of fear. Instead, it brings that clarity, which then leads to better and more thoughtful decision. Instead of rushing into a decision based on pressure, it can be time pressure, it can be peer pressure, it can be just stress of not being able to make a decision. But instead of rushing into a decision, a present leader pauses, gathers information, and makes a choice that aligns with long term goals. Think about the Queen's Gambit. Beth Harmon doesn't make her chess moves while scrolling Instagram. She is fully present, visualizing every possible outcome. So imagine bringing that level of focus to your leadership decisions. The second aspect of the presence power for leadership is improved team dynamics. I'm, I can almost guarantee all of us, we know at least that one boss or three other colleagues who checked their phone mid conversation or answered emails during a meeting. Didn't exactly inspire loyalty, did it? We are all have had those experiences, leaders who are physically present but mentally checked out. It's frustrating. Presence power is about showing up fully for your team, for yourself, so your team feels heard and valued. Presence power changes. When you are fully present, you are able to actively participate, actively listen, understand the needs, and create that culture of trust and respect. Because when any individual feels heard and valued, they are more engaged and more willing to go that extra mile. I can keep going on this particular piece. It's very critical. It's very critical as humans to develop the presence power to cut off from distractions and respect the five senses that's giving us all the information, but we are just on autopilot. And for those who don't agree with me, I respectfully would ask you to do two simple exercises just to have self check in whether you are there or not. Next time you sit down yourself, think about the last meal you had and everything else that was happening around you. Can you remember the sound? Can you remember the taste, the flavor? Can you remember the smell? Can you remember the texture, either of the food or the spoon or the napkin or something? See, we are living in this autopilot most of the time, and that's why it is so critical to break out of it. And that's where the third part or the third big benefit of presence power in leadership is resilience under pressure. Leadership is full of high pressure situation when everything feels like it's falling apart. Presence power is what helps us stay grounded. My own experience of ransomware attack in 2020, and for the team to be able to come out of that in less than 48 hours without doing any ransomware, started with presence power, staying calm, assessing the situation, and leading with clarity. So, presence power is what helps you to stay grounded. Instead of reacting impulsively, you are able to respond thoughtfully. You are calm in the storm, and that steadiness inspires confidence in your team. Now, it's time to flex your presence power muscles. Don't worry, it isn't a workout. Just quick. No yoga mat. It's always micro exercises, right? So close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it for a moment and slowly exhale through your mouth. Once again, let's inhale, hold, and exhale. Now bring your attention to your breath. Notice how it feels as it flows in and out at your nose, and then when it fills your lungs, and then it empties the lungs. If your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Gently bring it back to your breath. Continue for a few breaths. When you are ready, slowly open your eyes. You will notice a very different calm and being more present in whatever you're doing. This exercise to cultivate presence power can be done at your desk, on a walk, in your car, or when you're sleeping. Remember, Leadership starts with presence. When you lead yourself with clarity and intention, you inspire everyone around you. So let's start here right now. Let's begin. Take 5 minutes each day to practice being fully present. Whether it's during a meeting, a conversation, just a walk, bring your attention, awareness, and intention to that moment. If this episode resonates, I got more tools to help you strengthen your presence power. Remember, leadership starts with presence. When you lead yourself with clarity and intention, you inspire those around you to do the same. Thank you for joining me today on Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I am Singh, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay present, stay inspired, and keep leading with purpose. Let's begin.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singhpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.